I think I found your guys'
Live?
channel.
Are we live? Hold up, wait. We need to check for live. Okay, we're live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Doritoboy podcast. I'm your host, Gabe, and this is Danky Dorito. Say hi, Danky Dorito.
Yo, what's up?
And we have
What's
a guest
poppin'?
with us. We have, I guess a good friend of mine's. Say hi, Izzy.
Hi.
And she'll be joining us today in our podcast. So in this episode in particular, we're going to be talking about the topic of depression. Now that's kind of like a dreary topic. Most teens don't even want to discover, or they don't want to, they don't want to talk about it that much. But I think we need to make the push to finally bring awareness to depression because it's a huge, huge problem. So,
Pretty much to aid a teen with depression, it depends on what the problem is. It's not one. Like I think I found your guys' podcast. Like if it's a YouTube channel. Here, I'll post it in the chat. I think I found what I see. Podcast.
all right, so welcome again to the podcasts. I'm your host, Gabe, and you just heard Danky, and there's Isabel. So let's give a brief overview of what basically this topic is. Do you guys have like any suggestion or any idea what depression might be for you as personally?
Like depression it's just like this internal sadness or something that you just can't escape. Like I've had it before. I think it can last from something like, I don't know, weeks to even like years.
Yeah,
Like the longest I
can
ever had
testify
it was
that.
for like
I can testify that. There's a certain situation where, yeah,
Depression is like, it's just like Isabel says, like, just like sadness that you just can't get rid of. Like, it could be from anything. It could be from, like, the stress of school or, like, losing some kind of video game or something.
yeah.
pretty much it's
Any
feelings of severe despondency and dejection, which I got from Google. That's the meaning Google gives, but in my personal opinion, it's just a long-term sadness.
In my perspective, it's kind of like when you talk about social depression, it's depression where like you have the feeling of rejection or like abandonment, and you just don't feel like you're loved. So that kind of depression hurts the most. That's the one that really aches. It's the one that drives people insane because there's people who are being bullied and they can't escape their depression because they have no one to, talk to it about it. And, these people who get bullied, oftentimes they just go crazy. So, yeah, that's what I kind of think, depression in my objective.
That's social depression, being rejected from society. I think I can kind of relate to that.
I can very much relate.
And I think pretty much a lot of people relate to that.
Well, I can pretty much relate because, there's been a lot of times, a lot of instances where there's like people just didn't want to talk to me, and I just felt really sad. and it kind of pushed me to do something like I didn't want to do, but I felt like I needed to just find a way to escape this depression. And well, depression can make you feel a lot of crazy things. And for me, in one instance, in one case, it made me do something completely crazy. But now that well, I've gotten over it. Things have gotten better. And there's a lot of situations where I've experienced that. Uh, so, on the topic of depression, why don't we also talk about ways for how people can prevent depression from hitting themselves?
Um, well, some ways that can help is if something bad happens to you, you can think about the positive things in life and how when stuff got worse, things get better. They can always get better.
That's good. Yeah.
I think that if somebody is feeling depression, I think you should try to talk to them to make them feel better. And it doesn't always really work, but it's worth a try, I guess.
It really is. Yeah. Yeah, in my case, this is kind of a grueling story, so I'm just gonna make it like short and simple. You two are kind of familiar with it, but in this case, this depression
Wait, what'd you
started
say?
somewhere. I'm pretty sure you've heard about it a little bit, right, Denki?
Heard about what?
Oh, remember that crisis with that other account, like the ones you and I experienced? Yeah. So, well, um, both of our cases have to do with being depressed, right? So, yeah. It's crazy though, cause in my case, my depression started way back, and it just started building and building and building to a point where I was like, I can't take it anymore. I need to find a way to release all this strenuous depression, and the only way I could was through making a different account and trying to make myself feel better.
And then that's how the history of I actually don't remember the account's name because I never really heard of it until when and that guy that it's brought it up and I was like,
okay, well, yeah. Nobody really knows the true story about the account. I mean, many people have misconceptions about it. Like they say, "Oh, he just made it for fun. Oh, he just made it to be a monster, just there's a lot of misconceptions surrounding the account. But the true reason, the true thickness of the cake will always be the same. I made it because I was in just some deep struggle. I was in some deep stuff. Actually, I think now would be a good time more than ever to just like reflect on the situation that happened a while ago. So one of the things that happened was I just had this overall sense of, I guess, darkness. There was this presence of darkness in my heart, and it just felt like, damn, there's no way out of this. Life just won't get any better for me. And I felt like I was, yeah, it was just that general feeling. But if we want to, I know there's going to be a lot of people who know the history of that account that I made, and they're going to be like, yeah, with these misconceptions and these questions as to why I made it. So for those people who are watching, and for you too, I'm going to tell you the true story, why I made that one popular account that mimicked another popular account. I don't think anyone knows the exact true story, but here it is. Okay, so as far as I can remember, this all started around March of 2017. Like this entire, parade of just feeling depressed. I kind of took it like, I was just growing up. I was becoming a teenager, so I'm always gonna have these little bits of, depressional phases in my life. I didn't think really too much of it, but that's what I kind of assumed what was going on. And here's the real funky part. So because I was feeling, so depressed and so, just utterly awful, my English just kind of started getting more broken and broken. And I started stuttering a little more. I don't know if that had to do with the depression or anything, but I just started speaking really weirdly. My English was extremely broken, and every time I talked, I just stuttered a little bit. I don't know if that has to do with the depression or anything, but it was happening then, so I'm gonna say it has to do with the depression.
And something that depression can also cause is you find yourself more sleepy or more scared of things around the world.
Actually, that I can confirm that throughout the entire summer of 2017, I was super tired every day, just completely tired.
In fact, for my whole week recently, spring break, I found myself sleeping around 23 hours a day. I was only awake for 1 hour a day.
Shakes, that's really, oh no.
So I constantly found out.
I remember the account name. Martin, was it? That was the account name? Yeah, that was it. Okay.
I think that was the account.
Yeah, that was it. Mm-hmm. So,
let's see.
So, this kind of is the story of why I made that Martin account. So, it all started, as I said, back in March 2017. Skip ahead till June. So, along with feeling this overall sense of depression and with the really broken English, things just started getting a little less uncordial. Like, my entire surrounding just felt really unfriendly towards me. I felt like people were just, like, continuously looking down at me and, like, internally hating on me. That didn't feel good. So, normally, day by day, I just kind of felt this query feeling that, oh, people are just going to hate me. Oh, well, another day. So, I kind of just, like, figured that was just an underlying feeling of mine, but it soon became a reality. Online and in real life, people were actually starting to just... Wait, are you watching the live stream? That's kind of echoing.
I'm sorry. I forgot to mute it.
It's fine.
I was checking chat. I'm sorry, I forgot to mute it.
It's fine. So skip ahead, June 2017. I'm gonna say all this from an online perspective because not too many people will know what happened in real life. Only maybe like a couple of friends. But from an online perspective, it just kind of felt like people were just purposely ignoring me, you know?
Yeah,
okay, now listen here. So, around that time, June, July 2017, people were purposely, like, leaving me on read, and people just didn't want to talk to me. And that kind of felt unwelcoming because these were some people who I've known for a long time online, and I kind of felt like these were like my buddies. So, assuming these guys were my quote-unquote buddies, you know, they'd be comfortable talking with me. Otherwise, they'd just tell me, I don't have time to talk to you, or I just don't want to talk to you. But no, all they did was leave me on read, give me simple one-word responses, and that kind of just felt a little mean. And that built up because it wasn't just one or two people. It was quite a lot of people. Quite a lot of people just like misunderstanding me, you know, rejecting me, you know, leaving me on read, which all didn't feel too good.
Yeah, and I can understand that because when I was in a depression, I didn't know when to go onto my Discord server or a friend's Discord server and complain about and no one responds. And you know what? It actually kind of can help getting out of the depression because it knows, let's just let people know that you may make you think that nobody cares about the house, but you know that maybe I need to do this.
Yeah, it kind of feels like people just don't like you, even though you've done nothing wrong. That's strong on my case though, because it felt like I did nothing to anyone, but people just started hating on me for whatever reason. And what was even more peculiar was people were actually starting to act hostile towards me. I can bring up several occasions on Hangouts where people were just like telling me, "Oh, you suck. Oh, heck off. Nobody likes you," and stuff like that. This just general mean comments. And I know that sounds a little mundane, but back then I was like emotionally unstable. So given that on top of me being depressed and people were just like calling me names and stuff, that just didn't feel too good. I can recall at least 3 instances where I had people tell me, "Fuck off, I don't want to talk to you," or stuff like that. That really hurt me the most. And I feel kind of betrayed in a sense, because these people were supposed to be my friends, and they're just rejecting me just straight up. They're telling me they don't even like me in the first place. They're like, "Haha, I don't even like talking to you. What are you talking to me? I don't like you." And I kind of felt this really...
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. You can talk.
You can finish.
Alright, so can I tell my story on how my
Well,
depression...
I'm not done with my story, but you can go ahead and tell yours.
You can tell yours first if you want.
All right, I'm trying to be as simple as possible, because I mean, if people want to like further ask me why I made that account, I'll be more than happy to just like write a document, you know, depicting the rather gruesome stories. But yeah, so that was June. So people were just like generally discriminating against me, and that was kind of present online because, get this, there are a lot of major big accounts, right? So these big accounts I'm like a fan of. I like to talk with them. I like to, you know, like their art, you know, be just a part of their community.
It's kind of hard for me to talk to big accounts any day.
Yeah,
other than
but get this. So I know I'm an old account on G Plus. So get this, I made my account back in 2013. So I've known like most of these big accounts, what used to be small accounts, now are big accounts. I've known them for quite some time. So it kind of feels like I have this kind of natural bond with them, like a natural old friend relationship with these accounts. But it seemed as if time went on, they just kind of just drafted me out of their life. And there's this one instance where it felt like this one big account, this one major, huge account at the time, just kind of shunned me out. They made their statement clear by one-plussing everyone else's comments when I'd comment something, and then avoiding my comment. That always, you know, that really just struck me real deep. And then if they had the decency to just like add me in their pin post, they add me as the last. So that really hurt too. And I'm not saying, well, that's just like general typical stuff. That was basically what went on day to day. So it was nothing new to me that people would just reject me like that straight up. And I kind of got used to it in a way, because, you know, I just tell myself every day, yeah, people don't like me for whatever reason, and I'll just continue on my day. So here's where I start, you know, making the account. So skip the entirety of summer 2017. Let's go to September. September's my birthday, right? So on my birthday, you know, still feeling depressed as usual. I expected a much better response online. Like, I'd give the announcement, it's my birthday today, and then I was kind of almost hoping that these accounts and the aforementioned bigger accounts who I used to be buddies with would, come on and congratulate me, happy birthday. That's what I kind of suspected would happen. But guess what? Only 2 likes on that post, and no one said happy birthday. I can almost assure you. Like, it felt like everyone just left me in the dark. Even on my birthday, when I suspected things would get better, everyone just left me in the dark. And I just felt, wow, how can people do that? What have I done to people to make them hate me so much when I've done nothing to them? And that really added on to the layers and layers of depression I was already feeling. And so just so we're all clear about the gravity of how depressed I was feeling, whenever someone doesn't, necessarily or particularly just like acknowledge me, say in a comment section or whatnot, it just kind of felt like they were stabbing me in the back, just poking me with a razor sharp blade. That's how kind of bad it felt. So imagine that happening over and over and over again every day. It didn't feel good. I didn't feel right. I felt like I was going to go insane. So while...
Trying to understand that. If I actually knew you before your birthday came, I would have said happy birthday.
Yeah, it really would have helped because no one... And get this, so I'm looking through my past conversations on Hangouts, and I can recall at least twice some people... Oh, let me just pull this up. I need to re-experience this myself. I can't find the username. Darn. Well, there was this one person, and I knew them around March or April of 2017, so they were fairly new friends. But here's the interesting thing. The shocking thing was I did nothing wrong to them, but they all of a sudden went up to me on a PM on Hangouts, and they were like, "Why are you always online so much, you freaking loser?" I'm like, I've done nothing wrong to you. Why are you calling me that? And then there's this other instance where this girl was just arguing with me just because I was talking to some other friends. Like, yo, why are you talking to these people? You don't even know them. Like, yes, I do. I've known these people and they're my friends. They're like, no, they're my friends. Oh my God, nobody cares what you have to say. Oh my God. I'm like, oh my God. How are people...
One friend. In fact, I have more than one best friend.
I have quite a lot of friends, and it's sad that at least half of them were turning against me, as it seemed. So here's where the creation of the Martin account started. Now, for those people who aren't associated or who don't even know what I'm talking about, just imagine like a really popular meme page, and then just imagine me, like, say I made a fan page about it, and I mimicked his meme style. That's kind of what Martin was, I guess. That was kind of what I intended it to be. It was supposed to be an experiment account because, now listen closely, this is going to sound a little off to some people, but it was just an experiment account just so I can see how popular I can get. That's all. That was really all why I made it. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of raging comments right now, but just listen to the story. So after that, after like people just shunned me out on my birthday, I just felt like I just couldn't take it anymore. People were ignoring me too much. People were just like undermining me. People purposely ignored my comments, and they purposely put me last on their mentions list just to make a statement clear that they didn't like me. And that I could understand if like maybe 1 or 2 people didn't like me just because, but when it's like a group of people, say like 10 or 20 people continuously making you feel that way, it feels like you're not even a human anymore. It's more like you're just everyone's punching bag. And I was at that point where I was at my limit. I couldn't deal with this anymore. People left and right were just ignoring me and making me feel bad. And I even vented to one guy. He said, quote unquote, "Oh, I care about you. I care about how you feel. Don't worry. Everything will get better." 2 weeks later, the same guy, I'm like, "Yo, man, I feel this way. I don't think I can survive any longer like this." And he just left me on read. He leaves me on read for like a month. And then I come to find out, no, hold on, wait. I come to find out he blocks me. He blocks me for venting? Are you joking with me? So, on top of all of that, people were just blocking me out of the blue because they didn't feel like talking to me. And that was really rude. And you know what? That was really rude. So I told myself, what have I done to deserve people's hate? What have I done to be such a disgrace, such a misfortune for people to talk to? I've done nothing wrong. I felt like I wasn't even real. People were just treating me like some kind of doormat. So
another idea to cure depression is if somebody likes cats or dogs, just spam them with bloopers. Like, I have seen people's smiles brighten up when I've spammed a lot.
Yeah, and the thing was, I wasn't even trying to be annoying. Like, in the comments, I'd just be funny like everyone else. But these big accounts, or not even big accounts, it'd just be anyone, literally anyone. They'd interact with other people in the comments, and they just purposely avoid my comments, and they just purposely avoid me. I can't tell you how painful that was. It was excruciatingly painful that I had to witness that. So you know what I said? I said one night.
In fact,
just imagine this. Just imagine a gauge, okay? And it's pressurized, and it's almost pressurized to the red mark. And I said to myself, if I had let that gauge continue to the red mark, I would have just gone insane. People were abandoning me, rejecting me, making me feel bad. And I was at wit's end, and I just couldn't take it anymore. What have I done to deserve people's hate this much? So I said to myself, you know what? If people won't respect me on my main account, then they'll respect me on a different account. They'd respect me, they'd find favor in me through a mimic popular account. So I made that Martin account with the intention of trying to make myself feel better, because before, people were just ignoring me and not, giving two damns about me. But when I made that account, and I'm being completely honest, when I made that account, I felt so happy. I felt so happy because people actually cared about me on that account. And it's... I'm sorry. It's
fine.
It felt like people would take their time to even acknowledge that Martin account and not me. Because when I compared how people were treating me on that Martin account instead of on my main, it felt surreal. Why are you doing this? Why are you giving favor to my fake account when you could be acknowledging me? When you can be knowing that I'm the person behind the account who's really depressed? And it was really prevalent because, so say I post something on my main account and it gets no attention, like zero attention. It'd be up for like 30 minutes or an hour, not a single like. So I told myself, okay, just if people respect me more on my Martin account. So I took I took the aforementioned post down, said post down, and I put the exact same post with same context, same picture and everything on that Martin account, and it get crazy attention. People were like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. I'm like, wow, thank you. You actually realized that was funny on this account instead of realizing that I made that joke or I made that post. It didn't feel right. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw people were favoring my alt instead of be, because given how I was feeling, people would just see that account as some kind of god, and nobody knew that it was me.
That is why when I usually try to vent or something, I actually do hide it. Since I'm an animator, I usually hide my vents and keep my animations in the background, and people really never notice because they really never put the vent thing there.
That's
really
another
just
thing.
never.
I vent on my main account, and as I said before, it just get no attention. So I'd vent on my main account and it get no attention. Man, what a help! So the fact that people showed more attention on my Martin account instead of my main account, it just showed that people just had a disrespect towards me. They just didn't like me at all. So that kind of pushed me to continue using that Martin account to feel better, because hey, nobody respects me on my main, nobody likes me on my main, so why should I bother? People like me more on this account instead of my main account. I feel so much better that I'm pretending to be someone that I'm not, when clearly that wasn't the case. Like, I don't feel good at that I did that, but I had to, because it felt like I had no other choice but to do that. People were just dissing me left and right, and I had no choice but to just cuddle up and put on a mask and say,
"Oh my gosh,
hey,
you poor soul! I would have given you a hug back then."
You know,
Oh,
on air,
goodness.
this all might sound a little cheesy on air, but I'm gonna have to write a document about this or whatnot, because this is a seriously powerful story. Right now, I'm just giving a simplified version, but I definitely give a full, in-depth, detailed story of the entire situation.
Probably write a document up about it later.
Yeah, I'll do it, because
Yeah,
I know everything. I'm right now just giving a simplified version. So here's the thing. So I met y'all. You all know who Corgi Town is, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
kinda.
she's my girlfriend, right? So imagine
I know her.
imagine like seeing her and feeling, I'm like, wow, she's a really nice person. She'd be really fun to talk to. But then I'm like, oh well, since no one respects me on my main account, why would I expect her to respect me on my main account? So I'd rather use my Martin account, because everyone seems to like Martin more than my main account. So I talked to her on my Martin account, and I started having a romantic feeling for her on that account instead of my main account. I felt so guilty because I could have been using my main account. But you see, I wasn't, because I reasoned that people would not like me on my main. So if I tried to on my main, I figured she would have just left me then and there. But on my Martin account, I felt so safe and so loved. People would actually take their time to draw fan art for me, to make me feel better, generally, is what I'm trying to say. My point is, people would just make me feel a lot better, that they'd give more attention on my Martin account instead of my main account.
I actually had an alt account once, which kind of got some attention, but not much. That I tried being positive for once, and I got a lot of attention. And it kind of gained around 50 followers, but I ended up deleting it.
Well,
I'm not going to say the name of it, but I ended up deleting it because I'm like, this is not the true me. I should not be trying to hide who I am.
Exactly. That's what I felt. That's what I felt.
My main account went inactive for a total of 1 full week, and when I realized when I got back, I realized people actually cared about me on my main. I in fact got them not
And
over 99 notifications.
That's the exact opposite for me, because I said, get this, on my main account, I said I'd be leaving for like a couple days. Maybe like 1 or 2 people cared. But when I said I'd leave on my Martin account, people were like, oh no, please come back. And then when I announced I quote unquote came back, people were like, yay, we missed you. Oh man.
It just sucks personally.
Just
like
people would care about me more on this false fib account than they would actually care about me. That was the biggest revelation. That was the biggest revelation that ticked me off so much. That revelation right there
In fact,
told
I
me
hate the
that
fact
people do not care about me, and they care more about some cheesy mimic popular account. That right there just struck me so hard that people would just do that.
So, I'm assuming that you deleted the account, right?
I repurposed it. It's now a film account, or it's my film company, Redman Films. But nobody knows that
Just
it
was
used to be the Martin
curious.
account. Yeah. So the point is, I made an alt account because I felt trapped. I felt no one would care about me anymore if I didn't make that alt account. If I didn't try and act like someone else I wasn't. Because no one would care or even try and talk to me on my main. So I was like, oh well, I'm just going to start a new account, under a fake name, under a fake identity, and then to see people care about me more there than on my main, that just really hurt. Oh, here's another
fact,
instance.
I think
Wait. Here's another instance. So there's this one particular user named Sammy. He was a semi-popular meme page. So I was actually getting to know Sammy on my main, and he seemed to be like a pretty chill guy. Like, make no mistake, he was not the best person to talk to at sometimes, but he was chill overall. So the thing is, him being so full of himself and having such a big ego, it really didn't help my situation at all. Me being all depressed and shit. So when I took the time to give Sammy some fan mail, and I spent $50 on this, right? Like shipping and stuff. I gave him fan mail. And all he said to me was, thanks. Just a plain thanks. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I cared about you this much to give you fan mail, and all you're going to say is thanks. And he didn't. This was near Thanksgiving, right? So, like, he made a post, supposedly giving thanks to some of his good friends, and he never mentioned me on there. He mentioned my Martin account instead, and I didn't do anything for him on that Martin account. I did stuff on my main, but never on my Martin account. Yet he showed gratitude to my Martin account instead of me. Instead of acknowledging that I gave him fan art. And when I saw that with my Martin account, I was like, good God, you can't be real. You can't be real. So, point is to say, I was going insane because people hated me on my main, and they showed me more favor on my alt, and that kind of felt good. It felt good to be loved for once, to be shown appreciation, because no one would do it to me for me on my main account. So, but they do it on my alt account. So that really put me in such an awkward, dense situation when I would soon enough reveal to everyone that I was this Martin account. And some people didn't take it that well, mostly because they didn't understand the full of it. And they might not understand the full of it listening to this podcast. I'll, as I said, write a full, in-depth, detailed, report of this entire situation. But because people didn't understand the full of it, more people even hated me. More people hated me. And I'm like, you don't understand what happened. I didn't do this for giggles. I didn't make this account to, be funny or be silly or to take advantage of someone. I made this account because I felt trapped. I felt completely abandoned. I couldn't escape my depression any other way. It was just a growling monster on my back. That's what it felt like. So I had to, one way or another, just try and get that depression out of me. And I did, through an alt account. And people showed me more love and affection there than they did on my main, than they did with me. That
personally pisses me off that people would do that.
Exactly.
Like, I also think like popularity is a curse. That's why you will find me on Google Plus saying all the time, "No, I don't want 300 followers. No, I don't want 200 followers because I don't want to get popular. I don't want to fall under some spell of being popular." In
And I'm not
fact,
gonna say
I'm fine with the amount of
these
followers
big.
I have right now. Like, I'm the type who just doesn't want to gain a lot of followers
And
because
that's
I
okay.
know that.
And that's okay, honestly. But I'm not gonna say it's these popular accounts' faults for making me feel this way. Mostly because they all have egos, so they just kind of tend to overlook the people they deem unworthy of their attention. But why do that? When you know there can be
Yeah,
people
like
like me who will be going through some serious stuff, and just you ignoring me wouldn't help it for anything. And so afterwards, after making that account, after revealing myself to Corgi Town, she took it kind of well, I guess. But she asked me she said a very important statement. She said, "I forgive you." Whoa, I did no one harm. Did not kill a person, did not physically harm a person. Why would you forgive me for such an arduous situation?
Your girlfriend's just like, they're probably one of the best
Because she didn't.
girlfriends you can
I
get.
know,
Like,
I know. I'm truly
you're
lucky
lucky
to have her. I'm really lucky to have her. Trust me. But when she said she forgave me, I'm like, what's to forgive? I did not harm anyone. The question you should be asking me is, are you okay? I felt like if people asked me, are you okay, instead of saying, I forgive you for that Martin account, they should have asked, are you okay? Why did you make that Martin account? They should have asked, why? Why did I feel this way? Why did this and so happen? Because I would have cleared up a lot of, musky thoughts and misconceptions about the true reason why I made that Martin account. But no one did. No one bothered because everyone thought I either A, just messed around, or B, messed around. People thought I just messed around on that account. But no, I was just trying to find a way to escape this ever-longing depression and abandonment that people would give me on a day-to-day basis. If it weren't for that Martin account, and I'm going to be completely honest, I would have gone completely crazy. I probably would have, at the very worst scenario, I would have probably terrorized a place. Like, with a gun and stuff.
Oh my gosh, then I'm kind of glad you made that Martin account.
Before I made that Martin account, that very night before I made that Martin account, I said, why are people doing this to me? What have I done to them? I might as well just try and end humanity as it is. Humans aren't deserving of life. That's what I said to myself. Humans aren't deserving of life. I was at that stage where I just felt like everyone needed to die.
I can understand that. I actually said that once to people at school. Either for that ended me up in detention, but I literally thought about that because I think that it's what depression does. It makes you feel like humanity has gone so downhill that the whole race should just start over, even though instead of downgrading, we're kind of advancing in some way, but downgrading at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been pretty depressed before, but I don't recall ever going to that level.
To that extent, yeah. And I feel like I could have done a better job handling my depression, but, as pudgy as it was, as already worse as it was, people wouldn't, listen to me in the first place. So I basically was just stuck. No one would care about me. No one would listen to me. Everyone would just either block me, leave me on read, or just don't care. So I was stuck. There was no way I could, escape this situation. And I wouldn't have gotten professional counseling because it just seems almost laughable. Help, I'm feeling depressed because some people online are ignoring me. That just sounds kind of stupid. So why would I, ask for professional help when it sounds stupid?
In fact...
So there was no way to have gotten out of that situation without having made that account where I could mimic the popularity of another person and feel the popularity, feel the warmth that people would give me on a day-to-day basis because they portrayed me as some kind of godly popular account and they would actually, love me. And yeah, well, that's the only reason why I made that Martin account. And do I feel bad about it? Yes, because I could have done something about it. I could have done something about my feelings. But Do I feel horrible making that account? No, absolutely not. In some aspects, because yes, I did emotionally feel horrible throughout the entire account. Like, why would I make the account if I wasn't feeling horrible? But in very limited aspects, I do feel horrible because, I would have told Corgi Town the truth, but I was just too scared that she'd reject me like everyone else, so I just had to continue on with my Martin account. I just had to. There was no other way anyone would show any appreciation to me. I had to pretend to be someone else because no one would care about me on my main account. I have to pretend to be a popular account. That's basically simply why I made that account. And that was a product of depression. Yeah.
Can I tell my story now, or like?
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
So before I begin, I would just like to say that I think G-Time's story is really depressing, and I give him a hug right now
And
if he was here.
I kind of felt justified a little bit that I had to make that account.
So basically, it was like in June or July I started Google Plus, and I was really just beginning my account, and I was like, I think it's because like Google Plus and YouTube were connected back then. I was like, this is pretty cool, I guess. So it just started to make like, I just started to join like communities, like an Amiibo community, a Minecraft community, because I was just horrible back then. But I joined the Amiibo community. I started posting in it, and everything was fine for a while. I started to make some friends. I started to make friends with the moderators and even the owner of the community. But as I went on, people started to really they really started to hate me. They really started to show disrespect to me for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I called one of the moderators or the owner, another person would jump in and they'd say, "Oh, you can't take criticism." And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, it just really messed me up. And they just kept doing it. There's like 3 to 4 accounts, 3 to 4 people on me just doing this to me for no reason. And it really hurt me. Almost to the point of
just
it
random.
really hurt me to almost the point of just killing myself. I had thought about it one day.
Same here. I wanted to kill myself throughout the entire time of my depression. When people just start acting randomly, just like aggressive to you, you just don't know how to feel. It feels surreal. Like, why will people be doing this to you?
Exactly. And so yeah, it really hurt me. It drove me to almost kill myself one day. And I had thought that there was nothing that I could do about it. So I had heard that I had essentially heard that there were these people from the Marios. I had heard there were these people that raided the community a while back. But I'm feeling pretty depressed, so I'm gonna. It gave me the idea to make accounts. It gave me the idea to make multiple accounts that would just join the community, and I would post, and I'd hate on myself for no reason. Because I wanted to see. I made the accounts because I wanted to see that if people really cared about me. So
yeah, that's the worst. I feel you there. That's the worst. When you want people to just
I had made the accounts, did all that, hated on myself, and even though people were starting to show that they cared about me, and nobody really bothered me after that. I just didn't feel happy still. So what I did, what was I made even more accounts because I had that in mind that people were raided the community before, and I had gotten the idea. Now I'm not proud of this. I'm not happy that I did this. I made accounts to attack the community, attack its people, the people in the community, and to attack myself. I had posted not safe for work in the community. I had bullied the community members, all for my entertainment, really, all for my enjoyment, and I'm not proud that I did that. And I had even mimicked a popular account, I'd say, a popular troll back in the day. His name was Ronic the Hedgehog, and he was basically someone that hated on like Mario or something like that. So I mimicked him, and people actually legitimately thought that I was the real Ronic. Some people actually legitimately thought that I was the real one, and that I had returned because he had left Google Plus. So yeah, I'd say, like, there were a lot of bad memories, and there was a lot of bad things that I did.
Yeah, I definitely associate 2017 a bad year. Wasn't good.
Yeah, same 2015. And here's the thing, like, to make my depression even worse, that people were bullying me, that people were just disrespecting me for no reason. My father had died sometime. He died in 2015 on June 9th or something like that.
No. I'm so
And
sorry.
it really just added to the depression. So
Back in 2015, I mean, my father did cheat on my mom for the second time, and things were like going rough with my parents' marriage. And around that time, it's kind of where I just got this, this feeling of why or whatever. Yeah, that really sucks, man.
They weren't all bad times. There was some pretty good times, and I think that the moderators of the community, the owner of the community, and some of my friends can agree with that. So after a while, I just felt kind of, I just started to feel kind of guilty about that. I was living a lie, that I was living a lie as some popular troll back in maybe 2014 or 2013, probably 2014. I don't exactly remember when Ronic was active, but so I made a post telling everybody about it, and I'd say that people took it relatively well. Not a lot of people were too pissed at me. I had gotten banned from the amiibo community for 3 months, and they had told me that, but one time the owner said that he wasn't gonna unban me because I don't really remember the reason why, but he just said that he wasn't going to, and that just kind of hurt me. But at the end of the day, they ended up unbanning me, and I had made a post saying, "Hey guys, I'm back. I was all those accounts, and I'm sorry that I was those accounts, right?" And you know what happened? One of the people that was hating on me, that started the whole thing. I'm not gonna name them, but one of the people that originally started my depression commented on the post and straight up said to me, straight up said to me, "Kill yourself."
Oh my god.
Just that. So
sounds like a told that at school every day, but I just ignore it.
Exactly. Yeah,
So I
it's the
had
I'm
point
sorry.
where I've ignored it so much, but it was an ongoing thing. People were just, hating me left and right, and yeah, I really understand how you felt, man.
you
It's
know
tough,
it
pretending.
honestly pissed me off because he was the one that he was one of the main ones, mind you, that put me through all this.
And
So I
they're
had tagged the mods and the owner, and they had took care of him for good. Like he was gone after. He hasn't been active on his account, on his Google Plus account since that day.
yeah, the main reasons that, or rather, the main people who fueled that Martin account, they were quite vicious towards me. They were they were quite something. They were almost to the extent where they would witch hunt me, and they try. One even tried to DDoS me. One tried to get my information and expose me. Well, I just felt so attacked. But most of those accounts are either blocked or I blocked them, or they just died. So yeah,
All right,
I
and
understand where you're coming from.
I
Spend it.
got one more small little story here, and it's about my account. One of my accounts, my Waluigi 101 slash Waluigi
Yeah.
1001.
Oh yeah.
This one isn't really. I had I had made the account originally because I was feeling a little depressed. This was like back in like what 2016. And I was in late 2016 maybe, and I was feeling a little depressed because like it felt like a lot of people were just against me. Like a lot of people just didn't agree with me, and nobody would side with me in arguments I had with people, with my friends that I knew that I was right in for the most part, but they just didn't. Nobody really gave a fuck. So I made the account to I essentially made the account to side with me in my arguments and all that shit like that. And I had originally and I brought it back or like what February of this year, and I regret doing that because I it just made me feel the same guilt that I did with all those other accounts. And the real reason that I brought it back was the same with the other accounts for my entertainment and enjoyment. I'm not happy with that. So
Same.
yeah.
So it seems like we both have similar situations. We both made accounts because we were super depressed, and none of us had optimistic, outlooks after we revealed ourselves as those accounts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was feeling trapped and
Real
depressed to.
myself that I had was Isabel on that account.
Uh,
Like that account, I just went under a completely different name. I just deleted it after 1 week, and sure, people missed me on that account, but I never personally revealed myself who I was on that account.
yeah,
Like, I never really made any friends on there, so I was like, what's the point of revealing who I was on that account?
yeah. There's
Oh,
there's there's a lot of there's a lot of relating with each of our stories,
still a
and
mystery to this day what the account's name is to anyone who listens to this podcast, and it's still a mystery to the people who did know what that account was, who I was actually behind that account. But it was like a long time ago. Oh, like I actually kind of forgot the name of the account too. So
mm,
I only
We
remember like
all
one thing, shiny. That's all I remember about
yeah.
the account. That's all I remember. The one word shiny.
So just to recap,
Anyways,
yeah. So Danky made his
anyways,
account because Danky and I, we made our accounts because we were like extremely depressed. The only difference is, wait, like not a whole lot of people took it wrongly. Maybe like one or two people may have taken it wrongly for you, but for me, for my situation, people kind of just took it so wrongly, and it just went far south, and people were just like, oh my gosh, why would you do this, why would you do this to Corgi Town, oh this and that. I'm like, guys, please, you don't understand what happened. And it was just one instance where this guy was like, why'd you do this to her, oh my god, what's wrong with you. I'm like, yo, you don't understand. And he tried to make a call out post on me. I'm like, oh my god, it's stupid. It got so worse where I had to actually get a friend of mine's from school, from my real life school, to try and help me to try and defend my, my title a little bit, because this guy was just like relentless. And even my friend at the end of the day was like coming at me with a headache. He was like, yo, this guy is just crazy. And everyone took his word for it. And nobody would actually care to listen to my side of the story, which is exactly what happened to get me to that point, to make that account in the first place. No one listened.
That actually sounds like Google Plus in a nutshell. People kind of rarely listen. Like, I feel like I'm like one of the only few people that actually listen to what people say. Like, I know because I tend to get ignored in the comment sections when I comment, so I just rarely like people's posts now or comment it. Like, in fact, in school, I don't even go to the home menu. I just stay in my profile, because let's just say profiles don't have the tendency to keep safe for work during school. That is not even a joke. I think I tend to see more lewd on my profile when I'm at school than when I'm at home. It just personally sucks in general, but that's not the point. Pretty much, it's just really hard to be able to express your feelings without getting beat down on it on Google Plus. And I think that's just like one of the problems.
Yeah.
Like, I personally
that's a big problem, and that's what got me to how I made the situation works.
I feel like I can't really vent on Google Plus because, like, for one, people aren't gonna give a shit, and for two, people might just.
I'll actually be willing to follow and listen to you if you need to vent.
Yeah, I'd be willing to as well. Yeah, so just general being ignored and feeling depressed is what fueled our, I guess.
I got mentioned.
Yeah, and that's what
we all have our unique Google Plus stories, I'd say.
Yeah. Oh, well, I have way more unique Google Plus stories, but they're not. They don't have to deal with depression. It's because I've been such an old account. Yeah. There's a lot of just fun things I've done throughout my lifetime on Google Plus.
Yeah, same with me. Yeah, but it involves a lot of it involves those accounts I made. So, but they're still good memories nonetheless. Yeah.
So, point of this entire, I guess, live stream is, when you're feeling really depressed, don't be like us. Don't go just like to the extreme.
Yes, and when somebody makes a vent, please at least say that you care or something, because let's just say that's how some of us been driven to make our new house, because we thought nobody even read our crap.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
That was the case for me. Exactly the case for me. Nobody cared, but everyone cared on my alt account, so I felt so betrayed.
So just something for whoever keeps on posting NFSU while I'm in school. If you're watching this podcast, please stop or make a separate collection for it.
Exactly.
I don't want to. Because you posted it in your main collection, and I can't unfollow that.
No, all of us here on this podcast, we'd be happy to help you, whether you use Google Plus or not. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. We'll be happy to help you with whatever situation you're going through.
Yes, that is personally the main thing. Like, I will listen.
Yeah, we know how you felt. We know how you feel. So we'll be here to help you further. So I think that wraps up the stream, guys. I think that does it for tonight. Thank you so
So
much.
is that pretty much the end of the podcast, I guess?
Yeah, we've already passed an hour. So thank you so much for sharing your story, Dinky. And I'm
Thank
glad.
you for inviting me to join.
Yeah, of course. And well, to those who experienced that Martin situation but have no idea what happened, I guess this is like an oversimplified version of what really happened. So if you still hate on me for that account, just like don't bother to ask me why or ask me questions, because I'll definitely clear stuff up for you. And it doesn't matter, like you can still hate me afterwards, but the point is I made that account because nobody cared about me, so I just had to feel cared, had to feel loved.
Also, if you do make a document about it, be sure to send it to me. I'd like to read it.
Yes, me
I
too. I would
definitely
like to
will.
spread it and read it
Yeah,
because there's still people I see in my feed actually asking about the Martin situation. So I can
yeah,
send
I
that
know.
document over and say,
I
what?
know. I need to clear up. There's so many things that people have, just misunderstood about it. Wait, are people still talking about it to this day?
Yes, people are still talking about it. I have actually seen a post this morning about, like, I don't remember its exact name, but they were talking about the Martin situation, saying, are people still talking about the Martin situation, and who is Martin? And I'm just like, oh no, not again. I have to actually go through and find out. If I see the post again, I'll be sure to do
Yeah,
it.
so here's the thing though. People are gonna take it as me trying to re-spark drama, but I'm really not. So if I do make that a document, I'm definitely gonna post it on, publicly on my profile. I'm not gonna post it on one of my collections. But for anyone who has any questions about the Martin account, that document will clear things up. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening or listening to our podcast. We try our best to bring these to you at the best qualities we can. And well, I guess this wraps it up. Thank you for listening. All right.